We began a series within a series last week on the gifts of the Godhead, the supernatural, spiritual presence, gifts, empowerments, enablements that God has given us. Not just God as in the one, but all three, manifestations of our God, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit have imparted gifts to the body of Christ. Okay? And we have been graced to be able to be a part of that. So let's go back to our foundational passage for this particular sub-series, which is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And we're going to continue to examine the gifts of the Godhead. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, when you arrive in chapter 12, signify by saying there. Amen. Verse 1, I'm going to skip down after verse 1 to verse 4. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 1, and then down to verse 4, reading of the New American Standard, and it says this. Now, concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, and as I said last week, and also sistering, we want to make sure our sisters are included in the number. And brethren and sisters, brothers and sisters, I do not want you to be ignorant or unaware. Verse 4, there are varieties regarding these spiritual gifts. They are in great variety. There are varieties of gifts of charisma or charismata, but the same Holy Spirit. There are varieties of ministries and the same Lord, being Jesus Christ. And there are varieties of effects, but the same God and Father, who works all things in all persons. But to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for not the good of the one gifted, but for the common good. You are not gifted for you.
Right.
You are gifted for me.
That's right. That's right. That's it.
Amen. You are me. They are gifted for you. We are gifted for one another. And what's sad about this is that in the church, in the body of Christ, we have basically three sets of people. We have those who don't believe that the gifts of God are available to us today. See, it's really easy to say they used to be, because then you have to have faith for it now. Well, I never saw it, but I thought we walked by faith, not by sight. I don't care what I see, I know what it says. So it says, there's the group that believe that they're available to the church today. There's also a group that believe that that the gifts are available, they just don't practice them. So all it is at that point is a philosophy. It's just one of the bullet points on your statement of faith. And some churches, you wouldn't even know we believed in the gifts until you saw the statement of faith. Shut up! I've been here 4 years, didn't you know that? Learn something new every day. Right? So you have a group of people who don't believe in the gifts. You have a group who believe in them philosophically, but do not actually engage or practice them. And then, of course, you have the group that is passionate and hungry for seeing this stuff come to pass, to pursue the gifts. I want to challenge us in this place today, that as we can continue this series and then conclude it, God willing, next Sunday, that you do not take a passive role. This one comes in church. We take a passive role to anything that pertains to God, because we believe that we can't be active, because God is the one who does the doing. So I have to sit here and wait on God to touch and move and touch and move and touch and move. And then I'm going to move with him when he moves. But God is saying, no, I came to work for you. Somebody turn to Mark 16. I want you to read this. Not everyone knows, but I'll make this point, and then we'll come back to this. So stay here in 1 Corinthians 12. Look at Mark 16. I want to read verse 17. Somebody read this. We're going to do the old time way. When I say read, you just read. Read for the gods. Read like you're never going to read again. Mark 16, verse 17, and read on down to the end of the chapter.
These signs will accompany those who have believed. In my name they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. They will pick up serpents. And if they drink any deadly poison, it will not hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover. So then, when
Pause just a moment. This is where most people stop. They see the abilities and they get excited and then they stop. Kind of like, I have not seen them, they never read the next verse. See, this tells you what you can do, But you got to keep reading to find out how to do it. How it happens. Go ahead.
So then, when the Lord Jesus had spoken to them, he was received up into heaven and sat down at the right hand of God. And they went out and preached everywhere.
Pause. Who went? They did. Did Jesus? No, Jesus in heaven.
Right.
They went. Keep going.
While the Lord worked with them.
Wait, the Lord did what?
Worked with them.
No, they worked with the Lord.
Lord.
Because the Lord does the work. We just work with the Lord. Is that what the text said? No. I don't care what translation you have. The Lord worked with them. But they had to do the doing.
Right. Okay. Right. Come on.
Let's go back over. That's good. That's good. God bless your word. God bless your word. That's all I got to preach. Thank you. God bless you. But I wanted to bring that point out. That we have to see the Lord. Let's turn back over to 1 Corinthians 12. That the Lord is working with us. We have to learn how to take the initiative and do what he told us to do. We are sitting back waiting on a rhema from the Lord, and God said, listen, you haven't even done what I gave you in the Logos.
Well.
Why would I give you a due season when you haven't caught up the last season? I already told you, go, and I'll work with you. When you start going, then you'll get the next set of instructions.
All right.
You want to sit in that seat when the Lord said, give that person the word. And you're going to sit there and wait on the word. No, get up off your hindquarters and go talk to them and say, the Lord told me to tell you something. And as you're talking, he'll begin word in your mouth. But you just take the step of faith on what he already said do. And believe that he's not a fool. If he told you to give them a word, he's going to give you one as you begin acting in faith to do what he told you to do. Now that right there will set somebody free because you've been sitting in that seat waiting. Well, Lord, what do I say? He will word your mouth as you go. And if you get up there to them and say the Lord has a word for you and you don't get anything, then tell them what you already know he's saying. He wants you to know he loves you. He loves you so much. Begin to tell them what you already know. And then the flow. That's how you get in the flow. That's a whole that's how you get in the flow. And as you begin flowing, the waters begin to pour forth.
Yes.
But we have to take the initiative. So 1 Corinthians 12. Let's break this thing down. So if you go back up to verse 4. He says that there are varieties of gifts but the same Spirit. There are varieties of ministries and the same Lord. There are varieties of effects of the same God who works in all things and all persons. Now, last week we talked about the gifts, the class of enablements or empowerments that the Father gave to the church. We found out that they were doings, they were working, they were functions, or as this text says, they were effects. And they're found in Romans chapter 12. Okay? These gifts that the Father gave, granted to the church. Right? Now we're backed up as one in order of Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So verse 5 says that there are varieties of ministries, but the same Lord. Now that means that the gifts or enablements or empowerments, the special graces that were given to us by Jesus, the Lord, are classified or understood as ministries. They are ministries. So when we turn and find out the gifts that Jesus gave, we should expect them to be ministries. Just like we expected the gifts the Father gave to be effects. That's how it's so wonderful how the Word works together with itself. All right? So let's find these ministries listed for us in Ephesians chapter 4. The Lord has gifted the church ministries, as there were 7 effects gifted by the Father. There are 5 ministries gifted by the Son, and they are listed for us in Ephesians chapter 4. I want to call your attention here to verse 7. To each one of us, grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift. Therefore, it says, when he ascended on high, when he departed, we saw the ascension over in Mark 16. But when he ascended, he led captive a host of captives, and he gave gifts to mankind. He gave gifts to mankind. But what gifts did Christ give? Let's get down to verse 11 and see. He gave these gifts, some as apostles, and some as prophets, and some as evangelists, and some as pastors and teachers. So he gave these 5 gifts, these supernatural presents, if you will, to the church. The apostle, the prophet, the evangelist, the pastor, and the teacher. Now, there are a number of things that I need to say about these gifts. So I want you to stay with me. I'm going to move relatively quickly because I'm going to hold you here all day. But there are really 2 ways that I need to approach this. The first way that I need to approach it is to demonstrate to you what apostolic ministry looks like, what prophetic ministry looks like, what evangelistic ministry looks like, what pastoral ministry looks like, what the ministry of teaching looks like. Okay? But then after doing that, I need to actually tell you what these positions actually do. Because the mistake that we have made in the church is that we assume that the apostle did apostolic ministry. Apostle, apostolic, that's how it works. The prophet did prophetic ministry. And so forth and so on. That is actually only half. We're going to get to the other half today. All right? So first of all, the apostle. The word comes from the Greek word apostolos. Apostolos, if you're writing this in your notes, it is A-P-O-S-T-O-L-O-S. Apostolos. It means messenger or delegate. Delegate. It means a commissioned one who is commissioned. Okay? What are they commissioned to do? Now, we find in the book of Acts, the primary thing that the apostles did was that they established or founded churches. Okay? From that understanding, we have derived the term church planter. That an apostle is a church planter. That is accurate, but it's like one slice of the pie that doesn't actually represent the entire pie. Okay? So that's a slice of the pie, a church planter. What we also discovered is that the ministry of... See, here's the question we have to ask about apostleship. Is it just about numbers? Is the greatest apostle the one who plants the most churches? But we have people out there running around planting churches because they're an apostle. No, you're a church planter. But you're not caring for these churches after they're planted. In fact, how deep did the roots even go? Because you moved on to the next before you turned around and actually did something to actually cause this thing to grow. So apostolic ministry then is not just about planting churches. It's not a race like all of our local churches who are in a race to find out who can be the biggest church the fastest. It's not a race. And we're not in competition with each other. One of the reasons that I so dislike actually having conversations with other pastors today, one of the first questions they ask is, how many you got now? Yeah. Well, why? Part of that is the big opportunity. But the other part is, why does it matter? That's right. I'll pick my 20 against your 200 any day. Because your 200, y'all take up 7 offerings every day just to keep the lights on. Right. And you have to manipulate them in the key. All right. Come on. Scare them with the curse. You're going to be cursed, not Lord, if you don't give. And all we say here is, time for offering. Yeah. 24, and we ain't had men like cut off. In the Lord. But it goes to show you, and I learned this a long time ago now, little becomes much. Yes. When you put it in the hands of God. Yes. And I've seen him do a lot. We survived, after I came out of the class, we survived with 3 folk. We had just bought this building, y'all, and survived. Yes. Now, they were crying. Lord Jesus. He said he was will rescue us when we call his name. Then I rescue us.
Yes.
But the point is this. I've seen him do much with little, so I'm no longer concerned with how much is coming in. I thank God for that lesson because it made me realize he's going to always take care of us when we trust him for it.
That's right.
When we trust him. I don't have to trust you for it. I'm trusting him for it. So I don't have to preach based on how much I want you to give in the offering because I'm trusting him for it.
Yes.
That means I can step on your toes and not care because I'm trusting him for it.
Yes. Come on.
What am I talking about today? Apostles, young apostles. Now, I'm starting ministry. So they don't just plant churches, but they develop and nurture local flocks. They develop the leadership of those flocks so that as they move on to another ministry, they have left this flock in the hands of able shepherds. So that when they call back in 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, how y'all doing? What's going on with you? They get a good report. This is actually why we have the New Testament.
Yes.
The epistles of Paul in particular, written to these churches, you are actually watching apostolic ministry. He's writing back to these churches, many of whom he planted, and said, I've been hearing that this is going on. People read that, who black? But that's apostolic ministry. You don't just move on and cut ties, but you are still invested in that which you plant, in the seed that you sow. So apostolic ministry is not about planting churches, but building ministry. And what's interesting is today's office of bishop has evolved into what the biblical function of an apostle is. Yeah. Not in the church planting in particular, but in being an overseer of multiple churches. See, that's not the biblical function of a bishop. Technically, a bishop and an elder are exactly the same office. They were actually used interchangeably. Elder describes the person's character, and an elder in ministry, whereas bishop described their function in overseer. But they were talking about the same office. Okay? But over time, and especially as Roman influence began to infect the church, there came what we call an episcopal structure, where the bishop became elevated above the local church, where they oversaw the local church, various functions, and they began to oversee multiple ministries, which ultimately is part of the function of ministry of an apostle. So then the function of a bishop moved from being Presbyterian in nature. I feel like I'm in high school or college. Presbytery are the elders. That's the board of elders, Presbyterian. Okay. So the bishop moved from being Presbyterian in nature, not the denomination, but the function, into being Episcopal in nature, or really apostolic in nature. Okay? So today's office of bishop, they have an apostolic ministry. Okay? Is it a crime that the evolution happened? No, it's not a crime. It happened. That's what we got now. If we call somebody a bishop in this church, people don't know what to make of it because bishop just has another meaning for us now. So that's just kind of no way. But to understand that bishop is actually apostolic ministry that's taking place, the way we use the term today. Now, I'm thinking about what I'm going into more detail on. We may come back to it. Let's get down to the prophet. Prophet. The Greek word for prophet here is prophetes. Prophetes. It is spelled Prophet. Okay, that's pretty obvious. E-S. Prophetes. Prophetes. It means an inspired speaker. An inspired speaker. Now, we found out last week that part of prophetic ministry isn't just foretelling, but it's also forthtelling. Forthtelling is declaration, that what we'll call creative declaration. Okay? We talked about the power of the word, and prophetic ministry is the spirit of prophecy is a testimony of Jesus, who is the word. Prophetic ministry is about the word, but the word is creative power. Okay? So we saw how there's a difference between getting a word from the Spirit and then actually having a word bubble forth from within you to declare a thing. That's why you prophesy according to your faith. And of course, I gave more detail about that in last week's message. But now the ministry of the prophet actually encompasses all of these different manifestations. I want to use the word at the risk of sounding too Episcopalian in terms of there being a great division between the clergy and the laity. I want to use the word master. Apostles have developed a mastery of apostolic ministry. Prophets have developed a mastery of prophetic ministry. Okay? I'll tell you why that's true in a moment. So stay with me. I want to get through all 5 of them. Then I'm going to come back and tell you why the statement I just made is accurate. Okay? So prophets then have a ministry of hearing God's voice. Now how that happens will depend on the particular individual, because some people have a prophetic ministry that is visual. We call them seers. Some people have a prophetic ministry where they receive an impression in their spirit. See, when we use the word, hey, I have a word for you, it often didn't come in the form of words. Which is one of the reasons sometimes prophets have, or people even in prophetic ministry have a difficulty conveying the message, because God didn't just dictate to you something to say. But he impressed upon your heart an idea or a thought that you now had to articulate with words. So if the prophet is standing in front of you and they're saying, try not to think they're just trying to be spiritual. Sometimes they're actually trying to formulate what they see, so they can have the same impact on you when they get it that they had on them when they got it. Okay? So some are visual, some receive impressions, others, what do I have here? I removed it, that's right. I was trying to save time because I said they're not going to sit through all this. I can't go through that much, because you know, I'm a teacher, so I go way down deep. Pastor, can you do one of these a week? Suffice it to say, prophetic ministry manifests many different ways. Some people actually smell prophetically, to where when angels are present, they get a certain sense of smell, and they can actually pick up on what they smell. It's all different ways that it manifests. Okay? The point isn't how you got it. The point is that you did, and that you gave it when he told you to give it. Okay? Now that I told you what it is, let me tell you what it isn't. Prophetic ministry is not Miss Cleo. You were not going to get your numbers. I'm just saying. I know saints who play the numbers they hear in church. Psalm 27, 27, y'all, 27. But prophetic ministry is not a cycle ministry. And can I please say this? If you call a prophet or a person involved in prophetic ministry, and you say, do you have a word for me? I don't even classify myself as a prophet. And people always contact me on Facebook. Do you have a word for me? Does it say psychic friends network? Now here's the thing. We have the ability to stir up the gift that is within us. So then the person can't say, okay, well, let me call you back. I want to go get before God and see what I can get for you. Well, watch what happens. I'm going to go take my time out to get before God for you, when you could have took your own time to get before God.
That's right.
So we have to stop depending on prophets to hear God for us
Yes.
and get engaged in our own relationship. What have you? No, honey, what have you heard? Next time somebody asks you, you gotta ask them, what have you heard?
Right.
And I'll tell you if you missed it. What have you heard? Stop treating prophetic ministry as a psychic phenomenon. Let me tell you what else it's not. It's not, y'all please hear this. Prophetic ministry is not control. You are under no obligation to do what a prophet told you to do.
That's right.
Yes.
I need you to hear that. You are under no obligation to do what a prophet told you to do. And God is not going to spank you if you don't. Okay? Here's the thing about prophetic ministry. Oftentimes, the function of the prophet is not to reveal, but to confirm.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
So he's already
Yes.
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 But see, you've been struggling with it.
Yes.
So he sent somebody to set you free.
Yes.
That's right.
That's it. That's it.
Now there are indeed times when prophetic ministry is revelatory. But we have made that the single sole way that prophetic ministry works. And we do a great disservice to the church when we do that, because then we wind up causing prophetic ministry to become manipulative. And I have seen with these own two eyes, right here, people using prophetic ministry to tell folk what they want to tell them. And to make folk do what they want them to do. I've seen it. And it's like you can just, anything you want, you can get them to do it if you just put a thus saith the Lord behind it. That is witchcraft.
Yes, it is.
That is not a gift of the Spirit. You are not anointed to control people's choices.
Come on.
So usually, not all the time, but usually, prophecy will not have instruction attached. Because you are the one who has to get before God and find out, Lord, what do I do with this?
Yes.
Now, I'm very careful about that. I say usually, because sometimes it does. But we do want to be very careful. Now, I was going to wait until next week to say this, but I feel related to do it now, so let me say this. I already told the ministers here what I'm about to tell you, but please understand this. There are two forms of prophetic ministry that generally go forth. One is corporate and one is personal. Corporate prophetic is for the whole congregation. Personal is when it's only for an individual. Okay? Here is how we will practice prophetic ministry at the sanctuary. Both forms will usually be given publicly before the entire congregation. Okay? If let me use you as an example. If Deacon gets a word from the Lord, from whoever, I can't pray with her if I don't know what's been said. I can't call her in 2 weeks. Are you still believing God? Are you still trusting Him for what He said? We can't actually work in this thing together because I don't know what happened. Okay? Now, here's what also happens. Sometimes we hear what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what the prophet said. But if the only folk around when the word was given was the prophet and the person, I don't know who to believe. When you come back to me and tell me, Pastor, they told me this and it didn't happen, I don't know who to believe. Because what? There were only two people around.
Right.
So in this house, I can't speak anybody else's house. In this house, personal prophecy that is given individually, one-on-one, consider it outlawed. Okay? That does not only protect the one giving the word to make sure that what they actually gave was received properly and is not misrepresented, but it also protects the individual who received the word to know that the person has to stand in accountability because other folk heard it. See, you get into a state of where manipulation is very possible when it becomes private.
Yes.
There's a difference between personal prophecy and private prophecy. We will practice personal prophecy. We will not practice private prophecy.
There you go.
The truth is, we are a family.
Yes.
Amen.
I need to help you with what the Lord told you, which means I need to hear it.
That's right.
But Pastor, I'm a private person. Get over it.
Oh, Jesus.
We are in, y'all, we are in this thing together. And I want to believe God with you. Because sometimes it's hard believing God for that thing. And I need to draw strength and support from my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Yes.
So here's what's going to happen. There are times when a prophetic word is personal, but it's also sensitive. When it is of a sensitive nature, it does not need to be given before the entire congregation. But you still need to take somebody else with you when you give it.
That's teaching. You better teach.
Okay? Now, I don't just mean grab your neighbor by the hand and say, come on.
Right.
All the ministers in the sanctuary, raise your hand. These are the people you are authorized to take with you when you give somebody else a word. Okay? They're being trained and developed in our ministry classes, how to hear and confirm a word, things like that. These are the ones that are authorized to go with you when you have a word of a sensitive nature to give somebody else. But somebody else needs to be present. Now, I'm doing what I have to do as a shepherd. If I find out that you gave a private word to somebody, we're going to have a conversation.
Amen. Come on.
Because I have seen this wonderful gift from God be destroyed. And people's confidence in the gift be destroyed because it has not been used properly. So we're going to use the gift, but we're going to use it in a way that glorifies God and not get caught up in all the mess that goes on in the prophetic ministry. Amen?
Amen.
Now, the evangelist. Let me just give you a quick example of a person who got a word and didn't obey it. Paul. There was a prophet in the book of Acts who gave, by the name of Agabus, who gave Paul a prophecy. He said, Paul, if you go to Jerusalem, this is how you're going to wind up. And they're like, don't go, Paul, don't go. Paul said, look, I'm ready to deal with it. I'm going. I've already made it in my mind. So as you see, that was revelatory, but it wasn't controlling. He still went. And the word did come to pass. But that goes to tell you, prophecy is not intended to be manipulation. Now, evangelist. The Greek word, evangelistes. Evangelistes. It is spelled E-U-A-G-G. Hey, Gigi. E-L-I-S-T-E-S. I'll spell it once again. E-U-A-G-G-E-L-I-S-T-E-S. Evangelistes. Evangelistes. It means simply a preacher of the gospel. Now, whereas every believer needs to be reminded of the gospel of Jesus Christ, those who need it are usually not in here. They're out there.
Right.
The evangelist's primary ministry is not in here.
That's right.
It's out there. Now, here's what the church did. The church didn't want to give meek and lowly women the title minister or reverend. So they called you one of two things. Missionary. You ain't waiting nowhere, but you a missionary. Missionary. Or evangelist. Am I telling the truth? Missionary or evangelist. Just because you are a woman does not mean that you are called to evangelism. And you do not have to feel bound up to a specific title because of your anatomy in this church. You're going to be what God told you to be. Okay? An evangelist is one who has a passion for the lost. Who is burdened by the reality of the lost. And they have a word on your mouth that is uniquely able to open their eyes to the truth of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
In evangelists. Now, oftentimes they also operate in signs and wonders because those signs and wonders actually serve to confirm the word. Okay? So if you are called to the ministry of evangelism, I want you to pray for signs and wonders to begin moving in your life and in your ministry.
Yes.
But they're carrying the gospel of Jesus Christ to the world. Now, one of the mistakes that the church has made with the ministry of evangelism is equating evangelism to church growth. They are not the same thing.
At all.
Evangelism is concerned with kingdom, not church.
Yes.
Now, when I say church, I mean a local congregation. I don't mean the universal body of Christ. Now, that's right.
Yeah.
But the evangelist's job is not to grow this church. They are to grow the kingdom of God.
Yes.
Okay? So we have to deliver evangelists from coming up with a church growth strategy. All right, man, what can we do to get some butts in the seat? That's not their job. Their job is to turn people over from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light.
Yes.
And newsflash, there is more light than just at 601 the kingdom.
Come on. Amen.
Now, these are, see how it says them? These are gifts that God gave us. And if we keep screwing this up, we are not going to be the church He wants us to be. He didn't give these gifts just because He woke up one day and decided, oh, you know what, I think I'll just give him a couple of. No. These things He gave us to enable us to be the church. It was not a collection of folk getting together on Sunday morning. That is the church.
Come on.
We are to be the light and the salt. We are to be that which makes life worth living for people, which that gives flavor. We are Jesus is the light. He is the light, but so are you.
Come on.
The question is, are you bringing light?
All right.
And how do you bring light? By using the gifts and the tools that He's given us. So I recognize the fact that in a lot of what I'm saying today, I'm chasing out bad theology, but we have to.
Yes.
Because we have to clean up what the church messed up.
Yes.
So we can actually start doing this thing God's way. I think that it's very sad, but I won't go into that. Pastor. The Greek word is poimen. Poimen is spelled P-O-I-M-E-N. Poimen. Pastor means shepherd. Now, I find it, kind of go here, Jesus. Just let it go here for a little while. I'm going to get back to that. I find it interesting that there are some denominations that vote in and vote out the pastor. I didn't realize that the sheep hide the shepherd. I don't understand that. Here's what you have when you have a democratic church. You have a pastor with handcuffs on.
Yes.
Yes. Who can't even do what he's supposed to do because he's too worried about getting your vote next meeting's meeting.
Yes.
That's right.
Come on.
It's not that God wants pastors to be dictators, but we have to be free to serve Him.
Yes.
I can't do what He told me to do when I'm too worried about how you're going to receive it.
Come on.
So we have to deliver pastoral ministry from what I'll call politics.
Yes.
That's right. All right.
Because the spirit, we'll call it spirit, the spirit of politics has infected the body of Christ in a major, major way. Now here's the thing. If the shepherd is not taking care of the sheep, find a new shepherd.
Yes.
That's going to get y'all way home. That's going to get you real home. I'm going to tell you why. Because I didn't say find a shepherd, I said find a new one.
That's right. That's right.
I told, Lord forgive me. I told the Revelation years and years ago, old church Revelation, I told them, you can leave, but you can't fire me. This is my own blood, sweat, and tears. That's what you think. Like, this is my own blood, sweat, and tears. You're going to fire me? Are you crazy? Who do you think you are? No. in what I'm saying that the pastor is intended to be a dictator. And that is absolutely not the case. But here's how you involve checks and balances into the ministry of the local church. It is not by giving the power, if you will, to the congregation. Why not? Because half of those folk can't even handle it.
Right.
The congregation is at different stages of their spiritual growth.
Yes.
Some of them can't afford spiritually to know too much
That's right.
about what's happening behind the scenes. And now we have people leaving the church, and in some cases leaving the faith, because you gave them too much information, more than they can handle, and you burden them down with the responsibility of firing their leader when they did not or were not supposed to carry that burden.
That's right.
Now I know I'm telling the truth because I know I've been in church and seen how it has destroyed the fabric
Yes.
of the sheepfold. Here is how you engage biblically now. Checks and balances in the local church. Elders.
That's it.
Elders. I said a moment ago that the bishopric shifted from the eldership through the course of the church's evolution. But it is the function of the elders to oversee the local church. Okay? If the pastor has lost his mind, the congregation, you don't just say, we're going to vote the pastor out. No. You go and you share your concern with the elders. Now, the elders should be able to get rid of it. Or her. Okay? Because it is the elders who have been engaged by Scripture now to shepherd the flock with the pastor. In fact, the text literally talks about the elders shepherding the flock. Okay? Now what that means is overseeing the function and operation of the ministry. And there are times when pastors get beside themselves, and for the sake of the sheepfold, the elders do need to take some action. So eldership should be empowered to do that. That is not a burden that the general congregation should be asked to bear. Because some of the people in that church can't handle that. They can't handle knowing the pastor stole 40% of the church's finances. They can't handle knowing. I'm being real. They can't handle that.
All right.
Because they're not going to just be upset at the pastor. They're going to be upset at God.
Yes.
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 And for their sake, they need to be shielded.
Exactly.
See, that's part of what it means to be a pastor. It means to protect
Yes.
the sheep. That's why you think David would just run around having a good time and a bear came upon him? No. He came upon the bear and the lion while he was doing his shepherding work.
Yes.
And his job was to protect the sheep from the lion and from the bear. All right? So the job of the pastor, the job of the elders, is to sometimes protect you from yourself.
Yes.
True. Okay? It's not that we're trying to shield you or you don't want to answer, no, why not? I'm sorry. Some things you can't know. And that does not gel with American politics. We're used to democracy. But I saw how y'all voted in the last election. Some of y'all shouldn't be voting anyway. I'm just playing. Teacher. let me go back quickly to the pastor. And I really wasn't playing. So anybody who wants to talk, I still love you. You are still welcome in this place in the name of Jesus. And as I said a while ago, we are going to continue to pray for our president.
Yes.
So we clearly point that out, but I'm really going to play. Now we got to really get rid of the pastor. I want to clear up two mistakes we make with pastoral ministry. Number one, the pastor is not a one-stop shop to everything you need.
There you go.
Okay? I'm sorry, but I don't have the equipment for everything in your life.
Right.
Now, part of the problem with that is that we have tried so hard to be everything you need. And we have not told you, honey, you need professional help. And that's beyond what I can offer. Because see, we think we can do all things through Christ and strength. That's not what he meant. Some folk need professional therapy, counseling, psychiatry, whatever the case is. And guess what? It's not a sin for them to get it.
Come on.
In fact, it doesn't mean they're crazy. It means they're wise.
Amen.
And I should be wise enough to tell you when you need to be referred to someone who has more tools than I have to help you in this situation.
Right.
So that responsibility is both of ours. And as a pastor, I take ownership of that. We have made that mistake, but we have to work together to make sure that you get what you need. And that means you have to go outside of the church to get it. That's what it means. All right? The second mistake we have made in the pastoral ministry. And can I just say that that's one of the reasons why we have taken so many pastors to a grade. Has anyone paid attention to the number of pastoral suicides that have happened in the last, I'll say, 10 years? It's been happening a lot. Part of the reason is because, as my husband would say, and y'all please forgive me, I'm going to say something real bad. Let me talk to the pulpit. He said you have to stop being Captain Save-A-Hole.
Come on.
Now, I was really big.
That's it. That's it.
I can't try to save everybody and everything. And you know what? It's true. It's true. Because I would drive myself crazy worrying and trying to fix the stuff that I am not anointed to fix. I'm not the great fixer. So we have to relieve pastors of that level of pressure.
Yes.
Okay. The second problem that we made in churches with regard to the pastor is this. Just because you are a pastor does not mean that you have been anointed to preach.
Wow. Come on.
Teach. Now, the traditional church, I'm going to tell us all for today. The traditional church, and by traditional, I mean like 99% of the church, the pastor is the primary speaker. They must be heard every Sunday. Okay? The reason is they translate the adulation of the people as they preach into an affirmation of them.
Yes. Yes.
And in order for them to feel pastoral, they need the affirmation of the people. So now, I probably couldn't preach myself out of a paper bag, but I'm going to still get up here every Sunday morning and give you a ha. And won't he do it? And I went to Calvary, and I looked at his feet, and they looked new. What? His feet were bloody and bruised. How did they look new? But I was he said, you didn't even know what he said.
Right.
Number one, the keyboard and drums were too loud. Couldn't even hear it. And number two, he probably wasn't saying anything we're hearing. You ain't mad it, I'm preaching. You ain't mad it. Anyway. So listen to what's being said, y'all. Pay attention. Okay? So just because you are a pastor, a shepherd, a protector, and a nurturer of the flock, it does not mean that God is giving you the tools to feed them. If he's giving you teachers and preachers, put them up.
Yes.
Let them feed the folks so they're not saved 15 years and all they know is Jesus went to Calvary. Because that's all you got to give them. Get off Calvary. This one sounds so bad. Y'all get off Calvary. That sounds so bad. Evangelists, y'all stay at Calvary.
Yes. Come on. Yes.
I'm born again. Already been to the water. What comes next?
Right. Exactly.
Now I'm going to understand what comes next through Calvary. Like when I preached about divine healing, I had to go through Calvary to get there. Right? But I'm still giving you, as Paul said, things that accompany salvation.
Yes.
I
Yes.
got you saved, I got to give you what's left. What's next? What's new? All right? And every pastor has to do that. And that's not a bad thing.
It's not.
He's given teachers apart from pastors. So let those with that anointing and gift do what they're given to do. Right? It just so happens in this particular church, I'm also called as a teacher. Okay? But I don't want that to be seen as me reproducing the very criticism that I'm pointing out. There are a lot of pastors who are not preachers and are not teachers. And you know what? They don't have to be. Because some of them pastor very well.
Yes.
And we have to learn how to lead people in their lanes. And we as leaders have to learn how to stop getting out of our lane.
Come on.
Why be a mediocre preacher when I can be an excellent pastor?
Yes.
Let me do what he called me to do. And I'm going to trust that God's going to send us what we need to get the job done.
Yes.
All right.
Amen.
So pastor.
Amen.
The next and final one is teacher. Jesus keeping you. The word didaskalos. Didaskalos. It is spelled D-I-D-A-S-K-A-L-O-S. D-I-D-A-S-K-A-L-O-S. Didaskalos. It means, and this is very interesting, it means instructor, doctor, or master. Now think not of the word master as master of slave, but master as professional. One of the ways I love to describe the ministry of the teacher, not just the gift of teaching, but the ministry of the teacher. And I think I mentioned this last week. You can't teach what you don't know. I don't care how much you know. Actually, you kind of can in a way. I'll tell you exactly about it. But generally, you can't teach what you don't know. That means that a teacher necessarily has a hunger and passion for information, for knowledge. They're all the good teachers now are always students.
Yes.
Because we always want to know and learn. And watch this, this is going to be bad. The good teachers are not afraid to come back and say, a few years ago I taught this, and I got it wrong.
Yes. Yes.
But here's what I found out. See, it takes humility to be the right kind of teacher, because the right kind of teacher loves truth more than looking right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? We're more interested in saving your life than saving the face. Okay? So a teacher has been, is one who is given to study, passionate about studying, and is able to uniquely unfold truth and revelation into people's lives. It's not just sharing information, but actually bringing people to a place of understanding. Where it's like, I don't know if you ever, I'm sure you have in your time, where you see a person being instructed in something, and they like, their eyes get wide, they take a deep breath, and it's like, I got it. One of the best ways to see that is to teach math. There are times when you are trying to get them through the process, and they just don't get it. And you want to take the ruler and just knock them upside the head. But it's that moment where, oh my God, I got it. Where now it's not just how do I want to say it? It's not just the process, if you will, of the calculation that I memorized. I actually understand how it works. The teacher has an ability to unfold the how and not just the what. There are some hows in the kingdom
Yes.
that we have not been getting. Why have we not been getting it? Because the teachers are nowhere to be found. Can I really tell you this? I'm going to be honest, y'all. The white church has fixed this a long time ago. The black church, we got some work to do. I said we, like we a black church, we're not a black church. But the black church got some work to do. You know why? Because we're still stuck on preaching.
Yes.
We're stuck in the realm of preaching. And at the risk of sounding dogmatic or negative about it, it's not that the preacher does not have a place in the kingdom. There's an anointing to preach, and there's a place in the kingdom for it. Because there are some things that a preacher can lift you up to that a teacher couldn't do. Because I'm going to take you too deep in it, and what you need right now is, Lord, lift us up. Well, we belong to you. Right? I need to be edified and lifted up, and you're giving me too much information. So there is a ministry of preaching that is valuable. But saints, you cannot survive off preaching. I'm sorry. You can't. Okay? And so we have to rediscover the ministry of the teacher. Because there is true power in people being enlightened to the fullness of what the kingdom of God offers.
Yes.
Amen. All right, ministry of the teacher. I discussed the functions of these ministries. Give me about 5 more minutes to fix this. Now that's 5 more minutes teacher, not 5 more minutes preacher. The preacher said 5 more minutes 7 times. The teacher, he's going to try to do this in 5 minutes, Lord help me. All right, because I feel my stomach telling me it's time to go there. Amen. But listen, what I just described is not just the function of the apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher. I know I presented it that way, but that's not what I just described. What I just described to you is apostolic ministry, prophetic ministry, evangelistic ministry, pastoral ministry, and the ministry of teaching. Now let me tell you how the position, the position itself is different from just the function, because there is a difference, okay? The difference is found if we just keep reading. Ephesians 4, verse 11. He gave some as apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. Verse 12. For the perfecting or equipping of the saints for the work of ministry. We're going to stop right there. There's a lot more to read in this, going down to verse 16. We're going to stop right there for the time. The function of the apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, and teacher is not solely to do apostolic, prophetic, evangelistic, pastoral, and ministry. It is to equip you to do it. I'm going to let this marinate for just about 10 seconds, but I'm going to reclaim that time. I want you to really think about that. The reason that we have to think about that is because we have been lulled into the belief that the people who do pastoral ministry are pastors. And I've seen many, I mentioned this last week, I've seen many churches, anybody with prophetic gifting is called a prophet, and that is not true. Okay? There are more folk who plant churches than just apostles. There are people who are called to apostolic ministry who are not apostles. But it is the purpose of those five to develop and train the body to actually do the work. Okay? So that means there's more people in here called to pastoral ministry than just a pastor. And so for all the other ministries. So what you have to do then as a congregation is get before the Lord and ask him, what am I called to do? Now, the calling that you have may not necessarily be consistent with any of those five. They may be something else. And that's perfectly fine. But understand that it is our responsibility, as we call fivefold ministers, the five of these gifts. It is our responsibility to train and to develop, to equip, and then to launch you into what it is that God has called you to do. That is the difference between one who actually holds this, I'll call it title for now. Well, it's called in the office, but title, and someone who operates in the ministry itself. Now, why am I hesitant to utilize the word office when it comes to these ministries? I used to call them the fivefold ministry offices. That's what I used to call them. Okay? I no longer do, because office centers around title and position. That's what I'm saying. Office centers around position and not function. You can be a pastor. I'm not even talking about pastoral. You can be a pastor and don't have a title.
Sorry.
There are a number, especially in today's church, because a lot of folk in today's church no longer believe that the ministry of the apostle even exists anymore. They think it died out with the original apostles. There are a lot of people who God has called as apostles, and they are functioning as apostles, but they don't have the office, the title, the position, even though the function is still there. So that's why I want us to kind of divorce ourselves from the title. The idea that I can't operate or function unless somebody else puts a seal. No, God put the seal.
There you go.
Okay? Now we want to be trained and developed to move effectively in it. But don't you dare sit down and not let God do or use you just because I haven't gotten around to positioning you. Man. Oh. See, a lot of pastors will tell y'all that because they want to control every step you take.
Right.
But I recognize the fact that there's too much work to be done for y'all to wait on one person. Now, I'm not authorizing you to go out there and start shit, because everything you do, you represent the kingdom and you represent the sanctuary. So still get the training and equipment you need, but understand that you can yet be moving in this thing. Now, let me give you, I'm almost out of time. So let me give you this last bit of my own personal philosophy when it comes to these gifts. Every church operates differently, and that's okay. Here, I am not going to cause you to become until I've already observed that you are. You have to be before you become. If that makes sense. If I haven't seen anything evangelistic in you, why would I give you time to evangelize?
There you go.
That's not going to be some hookah at the altar when I give you the title. It's going to put the gift of evangelism inside of you.
Right.
You have to be already. Now, yes, there's impartation in through ordination. There are things that take place spiritually and supernaturally. The process of ordination is an important part of the ministry process. But you have to already be. I can't ordain what doesn't exist.
There you go.
To ordain, let me give you the simple definition. To ordain means to make official, to seal. But I can't make official what doesn't exist. I'm going to make official Marsha and Damien dating. I can't make official them dating if they haven't already started. Both of them are like, ugh. But you understand how that works? So here, and speak for there, here, you have to be before you become. That means that even when it comes to ministry, you have to understand something. I watch a lot more than I let on. Part of my job is to pay attention when you don't think I am. Because anybody can do what they think under a microscope. My job is to see, how are you when you don't think I'm watching? I pays attention. I just don't always speak. Yes, you do. I'm not going to preach y'all. So listen, I think it's my hope that through the course of all of these ministries and presenting these things to you, that we're able to restore the power and the efficacy of these gifts to the body. Because the truth is, I'll close out, I'm not going to elaborate, but just reading the remainder of that portion of Scripture in Ephesians 4. Listen to what happens when we get it right. Listen to what happens when we get this right. He says, he gave so many apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers for the equipping of the saints for the work of service. The saints are the ones who work the work of service, not the fivefold. Watch this now. To the building up of the body of Christ. So when we do it right, the body of Christ is built up. Watch this. Until we all attain to the unity of the faith and unity in the knowledge of the Son of God, until we have grown up to a mature person. Even, how mature, Pastor? Even to the measure of the stature that belongs to the fullness of Christ. Good God. Woo. Why haven't we seen it? Because we haven't been doing. We haven't utilized the gifts that get us there. It means we haven't been utilizing them properly. To measure the stature of the fullness of Christ. See, it's like almost like don't call yourself the body of Christ until you can measure up. As a result of this effectual working of the gifts that have grown us up, we will no longer be children, tossed here and there, tossed to and fro by waves, carried about by every wind of doctrine, by the trickery of men, by craftiness in deceitful scheming. Let me just pause. I know I don't want to listen. Some pastors never want you all to visit other churches. I tell you why. Because they're terrified that you're going to actually be deceived. You all have never, ever heard me tell you not to visit somewhere else. And you know what else you haven't heard me tell you? Don't turn on the radio. Don't go on YouTube. Don't read the internet. You have a question, come to me. You've never heard me say that. You know why? Because I know I've taught you enough to not be afraid of you being deceived. When we do this thing right, I don't have to, well, sometimes I don't do it for fear of being deceived if you want to be the only one talking to. But we don't have to worry about that. We have trained you up and developed you to the point where you are able to stand alone. See, I have to make sure that you're not going to be tossed to and fro even when I'm not around.
That's right. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you.
No longer children tossed here and there by waves, by every wind of doctrine, by the trickery of men, by craftiness and deceitful scheming, but speaking the truth in love, not any kind of way, but in love, We are to grow up in all aspects and every area of life into Him. He who is the head, even Christ, from whom the whole body, being fitted and held together by that which every joint supplies. You can't be fitted together until you have positioned yourself according to who He made you to be. You cannot reshape the puzzle piece of your existence. If you are an end piece, you are still an end piece. And you do not fit in the middle of the puzzle. But because we're trying to be who we're not, the whole puzzle can't get put together. But when we get our lane and then get trained and developed in our lane, so that we can actually own who we are and be celebrated for who we are and not who they want us to be, then the whole puzzle starts to come together. And you all have no idea how beautiful that puzzle looks. When the pieces are in the right spots, in the right places. By which it only happens by that which every joint can supply. According to the working of each individual part, watch this now, according to the proper working of each individual part, causes the growth of the body for the building up of itself.